You are a target, and cybersecurity is your responsibility. Those are the fundamental frameworks of making sure you're safe, secure, and protected online. Whether you're an individual, a family, or a company, you need to recognize that in this current day and age, you are a target. The way attacks work is I sort of call it the spiral. It's sort of like a funnel. Attackers start wide scale. They're going to go in and target all companies in a certain industry. So let's say they're currently targeted on manufacturing. Whether you're a one-person shop, a 50-person shop, or a 500-person shop, they're going to go in and start targeting everyone in your organization. Start targeting your entity. That's sort of the wide funnel. Then they're going to start looking for the vulnerable, looking for the weak prey, looking for those that they could pick off. And then they're going to go in and hone in on them, target, exploit, and compromise. Because here's the reality. You're only as strong as your weakest link. They're not going in at a 50-person company or even a 5-person company necessarily trying to break into everyone. They're trying to find one. Because here's the reality. In this interconnected world, if I can break into one user on one device, on one system, I can then easily be able to access all the other resources. Just imagine your computer. What do you have access to? You have access to all of your personal information, all of your family's information, plus all of your business information. It doesn't matter whether you're a first-line employee, middle management, or an executive. We all have access to critical information and data. And if we can go in and get access to your system, we can then target, pivot, and get access to other systems. And then here's the other reality. Once I get access to one person inside your company, it's that easier to target other people. Because now, if you get an email from an outside person, you're a good cybersecurity person, you have good hygiene, you might not fall victim. But now if somebody within your company is compromised, and you're now getting an email from a legitimate person, from a legitimate account, coming from a legitimate IP within your company, you're more likely to fall for it, target it, or be victim. So we need to recognize that everybody is a target and attackers are relentless. Now in the old days, they would just go after the low-hanging fruit. We would often call the attack vectors of 5, 10 years ago what we call faster than the bear. There's two friends hiking in the woods and they notice a bear following them. And the bear looks a little hungry and a little aggressive. And the faster they walk, the faster the bear. One of the two people take off their backpack, take off their boots and put on their sneakers. And the friend looks at him and says, "Dude, you're not going to outrun the bear." And the friend looks at him and says, "I don't have to outrun the bear, I have to outrun you." And that's the old school attacker. So if you're a little better, a little faster, a little more secure, you're going to be a target. But now, especially with AI, automation, tracking and monitoring, attackers can actually target everyone. They can go after everyone. They can build profiles on everyone. I'm a cybersecurity person. We run a cybersecurity company. My son works at the company. I'm not sure if they got this or for social media or for his email or for other tracking mechanisms. But the other day, I get an email from his valid secure anchor email where it basically said, "Hey Dad, can you check out this report that I just did? I need you to update it." Now, I get those types of emails all the time, but this one was a little strange because we have a very specific way we label documents at our company. We always name them starting with the project. So it would be like PA, if that's a project, 003 underscore the name and then the version. So we always use very strict versioning. And this attachment had a generic name. So that I raised an immediate flag. Also, my son doesn't call me dad at work. We sort of have the relationship that at work, we're boss, we're employees, we're coworkers. He doesn't refer to me as dad or son. So that was the second flag. And then it just looked a little too generic. Normally he's very specific, and people at my company know that when you send me an email, I want bulletized lists and breakdown. So there's just enough there that I call him and be like, "Dude, did you send me this email?" And he's like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And I send the file name. He's like, "I don't name things that way. You know that." I'm like, "That's what I thought." And I was smart enough, but I'll tell you, if I was a little stressed that day, a little quicker, a little tired, if I was traveling and running between flights, I might have clicked on it. If they caught me on the wrong day, I might have been victim. They just happened to catch me on the right day. And now I'm super leery and query of any emails I get from anyone inside. But that's how good these attackers are. We used to go in, and when I would give training or awareness classes, people would be like, Eric, we don't need it. We know. You look at the email, you look at the spelling, you look at the domain name, you look at this, you look at that, and you can catch attackers. Today, with AI and generative learning, where they're always learning, modifying, and getting better, these emails look legit. They're from legitimate emails, legitimate sites, legitimate entities, so much so that it's almost impossible to tell the difference. Which then leads to another question. Eric, if I can't tell the difference, how do I know what to respond to? Let's remember, email was meant for messages. Email was meant for updates. Email was never meant as a file transfer system. Email was never meant to have attachments or embedded links. So at our company, we always go in and we track all projects and information on a project management tool, and then we store all our documents either in Dropbox or if we're doing Google Docs. So then somebody will send me an update from the project management tool saying, you have a new update or a new file. I check our project management tool, and then I go in and verify and validate a notice. I'm not telling you the project management tool. Because once again, attackers are watching these videos, tracking and monitoring, and if I do that, they'll now know they can spoof those messages and try to impersonate a valid user. So we just have to be super careful. Give away the least amount of information and use tools what they were created for. Email was never meant to be given information about toll booths and tickets. Most state police are never going to contact you via text or messages or other things. So we just have to get really paranoid and recognize in this day and age, you are a target and cybersecurity is your responsibility.